The session that's going to be ongoing is by Enoch Seth, and it's titled Beyond Mapping, Using OpenStreetMap Data and FOSS4G.
Hello and welcome to my presentation on Beyond Mapping and reusing OpenStreetMap data with free and open source software for geospatial. My name is Enoch and I volunteer within the OpenStreetMap community and as well as the OSGeo community and OSGeoLive project. You might be wondering why am I telling you today about free and open source software and OpenStreetMap. These are words that might have repeated in your ears or have come across several times. Well, I love free and open source software, free software as well, OpenStreetMap, and I contribute to OpenStreetMap as I already mentioned. But I also believe that everyone should be able to know and have some skills, some idea about what is out there that he or she might be missing, and for personal development as well as for institutional development as well. So without much ado, first of all, before I start talking about free and open source software, we can start from the basis to know what is free software. Generally, there are two classes of software. Both it's either free software or proprietary software. When we talk about free software, there are other names called depending on where you are. Some I wouldn't bother you with much of them, but yeah, these are synonymous names like open source, lib software, FOSS and FLOSS, free, libre, and open source software. This all depends on what kind of license the software is being released in. And also, on the other hand, there is proprietary software. Proprietary software is just a binary, it's just a blob. It's like you giving a pasta without knowing what is in this pasta, what is the recipe, and then you can't play around with it more on this. But when we talk about free software, sometimes the first thing that comes in mind to most people generally is the assumption that it is free, you don't have to pay for it. And there is also the myth and the assumption about free stuff is that free stuffs are not good or are porous, insecure, and many others. But when we talk about freedom, we are talking about the four levels of freedom, which means you have the freedom to be able to run this software. You have the freedom to be able to study it, see what are the underlying blocks that make up this software. I use the pasta example, or maybe a local dish of yours example. You ate a very good meal or dinner at a friend's place, and then you are interested in making this at home yourself. So the best thing you will do is to ask your friend for what is the recipe, what did you put together, can you share me the menu, the recipe for this, so that you can also try it later. So without knowing what this is made up of, it becomes very difficult, or you can't be able to even start from where your friend has gotten to. So you are able to share. So because your friend is willing to learn from you as well, or to be able to see what you can also do, come out with their recipe, they share with you with love, and then you can also improve it. So when you go home and cook this dish recipe, you've seen that okay, maybe you love a lot of maybe spices, so you put one spicy from somewhere in it, and then it had a very interesting taste, and then you share your friend, you share with your friend, or invite your friend to come taste what you've made, and your friend also likes it. You have improved upon this recipe, and then you can be able to share back with your friend as well. So when we talk about free software, open source software, we are talking basically about the freedom as well. Not necessarily that is free, even though yeah, free software can either be free or be paid for, which most people don't realize as well. So the four levels of freedom, I hope I've been able to explain this a bit, but you can also take a look from where I use free software from Software Freedom Day, where I picked these graphics for my slide, which also tells you almost 1,001 reasons why you should use free software. Now we can talk about free and open source software in the geospatial domain without talking about open source geospatial foundation, or OSGeo for short. OSGeo is a free, open, self-organizing, and global community of enthusiasts, professionals, and many others, people who are new to geospatial or people who are already advanced into it, and many others. And OSGeo is a not-for-profit software foundation and providing organizational, legal, and financial support to projects. OSGeo is volunteer-driven, passionate membership all across the world. No matter your background, you don't need to be technical in order to participate in the OSGeo community or project as well, and it's volunteer run. There is no staff. It's not a company that is making money from this software. It's a foundation. You can compare OSGeo as to the OpenStreetMap Foundation as well. OSGeo promotes adoption of open geospatial technology partnerships on open approach to software standards and data and education as well. So OSGeo started in 2006, but mind you, yeah, OpenStreetMap was already in existence. So we can see, yeah, OSGeo is older than OpenStreetMap is older than OSGeo by 2 years. Of course, 2 years is a lot of time too as well. The founding, yeah, OSGeo is came up as driven by the need to organize and navigate rapidly around the growing field of open source geospatial technology tools and projects as well. So the founding members of OSGeo are leading open source tools, geospatial tools that you might have knowledge or know about. Some of them, QGIS, your lovely QGIS is there. GDAL, Swiss Army Knife for treating geospatial data that most of us use within proprietary, commercial, and free and open source GIS softwares without knowing. GDAL virtually runs almost everywhere that you and I might not realize because of its power. There is Map Server, GraphGIS, and PostGIS, which is the extension to the Postgres SQL or SQL database. This is the initial logo, yeah, of OSGeo. The recent one is from the previous slide you saw. So OSGeo supports open source software development, and here are a couple of OSGeo projects that have gone through rigorous incubation and then have become available and are available for everyone to use. You can see familiar names here as well. And then here you see projects that are community projects, and those incubation, the figures might not match up with what is current now because this is picked up from a very old slide, well, maybe two years back. So this, it could be that these have changed over time. And here's a logo of this OSGeo and family project that, yeah, with logos, pictures speaks a ton. So yeah, picture is worth a lot of words as well. So you could see some of them that you can relate to as well. Now this brings me to OSGeo and OpenStreetMap. OSGeo projects love OpenStreetMap data, and that is how come GDAL, which I mentioned earlier, is supports OpenStreetMap out of the box. That's how come you can just drag os.osm file and put it in QGIS, and I think you should be good to go. Open layers leaflet also supports OSM based maps using QGIS, map bender, and then PG routing, which relies on uses OSM data as well. The same way, vice versa. OSM users love OSGeo project I got to know about. OSGeo through my involvement in the OpenStreetMap community and the quest to discover more, and then reusing data being created, creating to OpenStreetMap, what can I do? And then of course, the first point of contact was QGIS, which I discovered first trying to understand or know about GIS. So you could see that, yeah, most of us know about QGIS, but we don't know how the family or other friends of QGIS and which community they form part of. And within OSU as well, each project has a community running. So you could see QGIS also has a community. So you could see QGIS user groups as well as the OSU community at large as well. So yeah, with QGIS, you could perform visualization, import, and many other stuffs, and plugins gives you endless possibilities because it's free and open source software. If something is not in there, you can improve it. This is like picking a recipe back home, and then there is not enough spices in it. You can spice it up, and then you have your own stuff. Yeah, FOSS4G, which is an annual conference around mostly OpenStreetMap and free software for geospatial, brings together a lot of people, and it's not only about software. There's also the fun side of it, same as state of the map, where you can compare FOSS4G to state of the map. Here as the regional ones exist as well as the global ones exist as well. This is from 2018 in Dar es Salaam, FOSS4G. You could see, yeah, people from the community sprint meeting, talking and then sharing and learning, getting to know what people do in relation to certain projects and software as well. You could see from the community sprint as well, beautiful people, lovely faces, and then we've not had a time to meet in person. I've had a few years, but I hope soon we can return to normal and then meet each other again soon. And OSGeo, as I mentioned, is not only about software, but beyond the software, there are many other stuffs, open source, of course, open data, open standards, open education, and then open science. There is also partnership, or we call it MOOS, Memorandum of Understanding with organizations like-minded to promote free and open source education with the geospatial. And then that brings me to Geo for All, which is an open education initiative to connect, share, collaborate through research, education, both private sector, government, and industry partners. So the mission of Geo for All is to make geospatial education opportunities accessible to all through research, teaching, open access training, infrastructure, and also through collaboration of several actors. There are, say, 100 labs plus more of these because this is from 2017 across the world. And these labs provide you with support and active human resources in order to foster the goals and missions of Geo for All. OSGeoLive, which is a desktop distribution, that is to say Linux desktop distribution, which is an operating system. So operating system is the software that is running on your computer's hardware. When you turn on, you buy a computer, you turn it on after seeing the manufacturer's logo. The next thing that comes up is your operating system. You could be using Ubuntu or maybe a Linux distribution, any Linux-based operating system from Fedora down, or you are using Windows, or you're using a Mac, and we have Android. There are OS operating systems running on several devices. So OSGeoLive is a Linux distribution or Linux operating system which contains most of yeah, OSGeo projects and other projects, not all in OSGeo projects, but yeah, projects that are free software and serves some need in the geospatial world. This operating system contains documentation and data and some quick start and overview on getting you started with these tools. And OSGeoLive comes with some sample data, and it will be interesting for you to know that data from this data package with OSGeoLive is based on the location of the FOSS4G conference to happen. So this year it was supposed to be in Buenos Aires, but unfortunately it was online. But notwithstanding, OSGeoLive was packaged with how do you call it, with OSM data from this city. So without talking too much, I will quickly jump to OSGeoLive, which is the pack for this free and open source for geospatial softwares to demonstrate quickly. So this is OSGeoLive 14 based on Lubuntu 20.04, if I'm not mistaken. And this OSGeoLive release was codenamed after our dear Malena, who was supposed to be, who was co-chair of FOSS4G 2021 in Buenos Aires, but unfortunately we lost her, and then we really miss her as well. So quickly, this is how the desktop of OSGeoLive looks. OSGeoLive comes in several languages. I think a couple of languages that Linux distributions actually translate. So if English is not your primary language, you can come to the menu here, and I think when you go search for region, I think I go to preferences and then LXQT preferences and then local instead. So I can change this here to a different language and do a reboot, and this is working. But in OSGeoLive, we have the tools and the softwares I mentioned, from browser facing to web services as well. It is good to know that there is a password.txt file here. This file contains a passwords for the softwares that are packaged with this operating system. So you can see here GeoServer, Rastaman, PostGIS SQL, and then some other stuff. So the general username and password is user when you use this. Now, you might be asking, why will you need OSGeoLive, or why do you need a complete operating system in order to access this? You don't necessarily need OSGeoLive in order to access all these tools or softwares that are this. You can put them on your existing operating system, but sometimes you want to try, or maybe you don't have you have a dedicated computer for this, and taking the time to set all this up one by one might be a couple of hassle for you. That is how come the OSGeoLive team or OSGeo project came into existence, for ease of training, accessibility to these tools where there is less or very minimal internet connectivity in order to install and do this. So if you have the image, you can carry it along and then reuse wherever you want. So on the home page of the operating system, when you open a browser, this is the first page to pop up, is on a local host. But when you go to live.osgeo.org, is the same stuff that you see there. And quickly we can go to content, and content, this tells you what is included. This is a OSGeo project, community project, and the softwares that are included, software included in the VMDK. Now this brings me to what is the difference between VMDK, or what is VMDK. Now if you need to get OSGeoLive, you need to either put it on a USB stick or a DVD and then boot from it in your computer, or you can grab the VMDK, which is a VirtualBox virtual machine disk. So virtual machine disk can be used with this kind of virtualization softwares from VirtualBox, VMware, KVM, depends on which you have access to, but VirtualBox is the go-to one for me. I am using that now, and this OSGeo Live you see in this this demonstration is running VirtualBox environment. So grab this one, and then you can put it in this, and then how do you do it is all included as well. So you can see running in a virtual machine, tells you the tutorial on how to go around it. I go back to contents again, and then in each content we have the software. Clicking on this gives you information about it, so you can see what QGIS, the project information, and then you see the quick start, which was the other option. So the quick start gives you a quick tutorial about what you could do, and these data sets are already pre-packaged with the operating system, so you can drag and drop them and use them. Quickly I will jump to QGIS and then show a couple of stuff. So normally, if you want to work with OpenStreetMap data, in QGIS, you first have to get the data, but there are several ways to get the data. One quick one is the popular GeoFabric download server. So I can grab shape files or PBF, but when we go to one level up, this is Africa, so you can see all African countries here, and then depending on your country, you can grab a shape file, or you can grab the OSM PBF file from here. And then this is done, I think, every 24 hours, and then you could see this was last run 14th, and then at 21 hours. And after downloading it, then you have a zipped file, so I can quickly go to my downloads here, and then this is it. I can extract here, and you see all the files being extracted. So these files are OSM data package. When I come back here and I go to download and check here, you could see buildings, POIs. I can drag it, and you should see the representation of this data on Ghana as well. Another option is to either use the quick OSM plugin. So when you go to manage plugins, you see the quick OSM plugin, which helps you, quick OSM plugin, which helps you to get specific data and is relying on overpass. So overpass overpass table, which we more might have known, or if you don't know already, you can use to grab specific data. So this is grabbing amenity pharmacy. So pharmacy is seen around this area in Accra as well. So in OSGeoLive, there is other couple of tools like a GeoNode, which is an SDI for sharing and managing spatial data. There is GeoServer, there are others. So you have the opportunity to try these tools and softwares before trying them on your machine, or even get to understand how they work as well. Um, I think my time is up, and then I would like to stop here. And then if you have any questions, please get in touch with us via the OSGeo Live page. There is a community, there is a mailing list. If you think that this is not in your local language and you want to translate it into your local language, this is the place to contact, get in touch with the community, and then you can also contribute as well. And in conclusion, these tools are not just for, what do you call it, for you can use them for fun, but these tools can also be used to make products and are used for professional works and other stuff that in return improve you as an individual, and also makes you a skilled person or specialist in this domain that brings other benefits, not necessarily monetary. Monetary fine is important as well, but the financial independence as well. These tools can also be used for financial independence when applied to data we create already by building services and creating products out of our data that we generate. Thank you very much, and then let the force be with you.